Hello, dear viewers. Welcome. Myself, Professor Mishramka Sunita, Assistant Professor in Department of English, JAT Arts, Science and Commerce College for Women. The topic of my presentation is The Open Window, written by Saki, Hector Hugh Munro. Hector Hugh Munro was a British writer. He published his literary work under the pen name Saki. The inspiration for the pen name Saki is unknown, but some critics say that it may be based upon a character from the poems of Omar Khayyam. Munro was born in Akkab on 18th December 1870. Now, this Akkab, Burma is known as Myanmar. He died on 14th November 1916 at the age of 45 at Beaumont, Hamel, France. Munro became a police officer in India and he was posted to Burma. There, he contracted malaria. He was killed in action by a German sniper. Munro wrote short stories. He wrote some plays also, and he was known for his short stories. He was specially known for his satire and his wit. He is known as a master of short stories and he is often compared to O. Henry. The present story, The Open Window, was published on 18th November 1911. There are three major characters: Frampton Nuttall, who is the protagonist, Mrs. Sappleton, a middle-aged lady, and Vera, 15 years old niece of Mrs. Sappleton. Frampton was suffering from nervous disorder. On the advice of doctor, he travelled to village, but he knew nobody in the village. His sister knew that he would not speak to anybody and his nerves would be worse than mopping. So she gave him a few letters of introduction so that he could visit those village people and talk to them. She lived in the area previously, so she hoped it would help to cure his ailment, his disease. Therefore, Mr. Nuttall came to visit Mrs. Sappleton. When Frampton went to Mrs. Sappleton's home, he was welcomed by Vera. She was a niece of Mrs. Sappleton. She was a young girl of 15. She was fun-loving and mischievous girl. She knew how to oust a stranger from the home. She played a joke on him. She made him run out. She narrated a cooked-up story about her aunt's husband, her two brothers, and the open window. She told him that 3 years ago, the great tragedy happened in her aunt's life. She told him that 3 years ago, her aunt's husband, along with her two brothers, had gone for shooting. They were caught in a wet marshy land. They never returned, but the aunt, Mrs. Sappleton, was still hoping that they would return home and enter through the open window. They left through the same window for hunting with little spaniel. Vera says that no one knows what happened to them as they never returned, and her aunt, still in grief, keeps the open window waiting for them in return. Mrs. Appleton arrives and greets Frampton. She apologizes for being late and hopes Vera amused him meanwhile. After that, to Frampton's shock, Mrs. Appleton makes a remark on the open window. She tells him it is open as she is waiting for her husband and brother's return from a hunting trip. This convinces Frampton even more of Vera's story. He is shocked to see her eyes still fixed on the open window. Her continuous looking at the open window and anticipating their return fills his heart with horror. Frampton is horrified, and what shocked him the most was the arrival of three men in hunting attire. They approached the house, and Frampton was convinced they were ghosts. Thus he ran away frantically. Finally, we find Vera creating another story for this also. Frampton's reaction confused Mrs. Appleton, but she assured her that Frampton got scared of the hunting dog because he has a phobia of dogs. Vera had created another tale. She perpetuated her tale, telling the men who were puzzled at the fleeing Nuttall. She told them that he had run due to an unnatural fear of dogs. The tale was revealed to the reader to be a hoax. While the three men have indeed gone for hunting, they left the house only that day. They stumbled into somewhat awkward situation and discovered the truth of what happened. As it turned out, Vera was a perpetual liar. She told the three men that Nuttall was once frightened by a group of stray dogs in a graveyard. He had bolted from the house at the sight of Cocker Spaniel accompanying the three men. So in this way, Vera created one more story. Finally, the author has concluded by stating that romance at short notice was Vera's specialty. It revealed how both the incidents narrated by Vera were invented and baseless. The story's ending discloses the irony of Mr. Nuttall's situation. He had come to cure his nerves, but ended up making them worse. So the story is really an interesting story written by Saki Hector Hugh Munro. Thank you.